Vanishing Hitchhiker has no real set kind of thing. It's really just as simple as picking up someone on the side of the road. They'll give you a place to take them, and weird shit happens. And I don't mean like, hey, let me smell your farts kind of fucking weird. I mean like rapid aging, disappearing out of the truck right before getting to the destination. Yeah, I'll start with my favorite one. This one was told to me by a guy I met in Louisiana. He's another prime driver. We were sitting outside just having cigarettes, and he told me the story back when he was driving back, I think he said it was 1986. He was driving down the I-10 in Arizona. There was a guy on the side of the road carrying a backpack. It looked like he needed some help. He was out in the middle of nowhere, like 50 miles to the nearest anything. So he felt bad. So he pulls over. The guy walks up to the driver's side, and he's like, hey, you need a lift? And he's like, oh, please, I'm tired. He's like, yeah, hop in. Kid's about 23, 25. He has a backpack and a few other little doodads on him. And they're talking, and he's asking him about home, where you're from, and the kid's answering. Seems like a normal, decent kid. Tells him a story about how he ran away from home when he was 19 and fell in with some bad people. And on his way home, this is where it got weird, and he's telling him a story. He says, and on his way home, he was walking home because he was in that bad of a spot. A trucker dozed off, veered off the road a little bit, hit him and killed him. And just kept driving. So, of course, my buddy who's driving is looking at him like, you're in my truck right now. And what? And he was about to make the turn to get to this kid's neck of the woods right as he dropped this bomb about him being hit by a truck. And he is just weirded out by it. And he's asking for clarification, but the kid just keeps thanking him and kind of changing the subject. They round the corner, they drive down the street a bit, and he goes, you can drop me here. So my buddy stops, and lets the kid off, and he's like, all right, well, be safe, whatever. My trucker buddy starts to drive down the street a ways a bit, and he realizes the kid left like a book in his truck. So he pops a U-turn, comes back, figures he'll drop it off where he dropped the kid off, and he saw another hitchhiker coming. Well, he thought it was a hitchhiker. It turns out it wasn't a hitchhiker. It was just a kid with a backpack. But he thought, that's him, so he stops, and he goes, hey, I got your book. The kid's like, who are you? What are you talking about? And he realizes it's not the same kid. And he's just like, yeah, I had a guy in my truck, and, he said his name was David. He's like, oh, I had a kid in my truck named David. He left his book in my truck. And the other kid was like, can I see the book? And he hands him the book, and he's like, dude, this was my best friend's favorite book. His name was David. He died like 5 years ago. He was hit by a semi walking home. And he couldn't find the kid anywhere. He made that U-turn pretty quick, so the kid couldn't have gone that far. The kid was nowhere to be found. Just this other kid on the side of the road who knew of his passenger. I heard one, I read this one online. Guy picked up a girl, stormy outside. He was trying to be nice. He stops. She hops in. He's like, where are you headed? She gives him directions down the way a bit. And they're talking, and again, seems like normal conversation. Like you would never suspect the damn thing. And he's driving her down the road, and right before he gets to where she lives, she just fucking disappears out of the truck. So he drives to where she told him the house was, and he knocks on the door, and he's like, hey, I had your daughter in my truck, and she disappeared. I don't know what happened. Is she here? I don't know what's going on. She told the truck driver that her daughter passed away 13 years ago. And the thing that was so weird about that number was she said, you're the 13th trucker to come to my house and tell me that he was trying to give my daughter a ride home. So once a year, I'm guessing, I'm just going to spitball it based on every scary movie I've ever seen, on the anniversary of her death or close way around, she hops a ride with another trucker and goes home. Talking to another guy, I was in Kansas City. He told me a story, same thing. He picked up a hitchhiker, drove them 140 miles, he said, 150 miles, 60 miles, something like that. And they talked and they joked and they smoked and they fucking just kicked it and, had great conversation. And then, he's watching the road. He went to ask the kid a question about, what's waiting for you when you get home or whatever. Doesn't hear an answer, and he turns to his right and the kid's just fucking gone. You know what I mean? Doing 65 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour. Didn't hear the door open. The window was up. Kid was just gone. I don't know if there's a detection method for this kind of thing. I mean, from all the stories that I've been told so far, other than being genuinely creepy, they aren't dangerous or hostile. They don't try to hurt you or psychologically fuck with you. They honestly just want some conversation and to get out of the fucking rain or just not have to walk. And then once they get out of range of their death area or they feel like they've had enough, they just fucking disappear. One of my buddies said that he was really tired one time. He picked someone up and he gave them a ride to a truck stop, and they got out of the truck at the truck stop, and he went in to grab something to eat. But when he was keeping an eye out on the guy to see, just out of curiosity, which way he was going to go, and he says he swears to God a truck drove past this guy, and he was just gone. Like in the movies, where they have the bus drive by, and the person of interest is just gone. Nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. Guy was just fucking gone. And he often thinks that it was some kind of a guardian angel kind of scenario, because as tired as he was, he really believes that talking to that guy while he was driving is what kept him awake enough to get to the truck stop. And he actually took that as a sign, and he parked and stayed the night, even though he was going to be late to dropping his load. He took that as a sign of, I got here, I need to stop here and sleep. That, and if I saw a person vanish, I'd be like, okay, I'm too tired to drive. I have one, this is really sad. He swears to God that he's haunted. I met this guy down in Macon, Georgia. He had someone jump in front of his truck, suicide by trucker. He was driving down some side Georgia interstate something or another at like 3, 4 in the morning, and he was driving past some old houses, and this woman, just with her arms raised, just walked right in front of his truck. He was doing like 50 miles an hour. She came out of fucking nowhere. He didn't even get a chance to hit the brakes, plowed right into her, killed her on the spot. And he's like, well, I'm going to prison, my life is over. But it turns out that she had a history of being suicidal. She was off her meds, and it was established that she used a trucker to commit suicide, which is unfortunately common. He said he was driving down the road one day, saw this younger woman. Now, he was driving on the same road, which already had him very uncomfortable, very unnerved. He did not want to be on that road. It wasn't the anniversary of when it happened or anything like that, but he swears to God he was driving down the road and saw a woman walking down the road that looked just like, identical, even to the same clothing. Looked like a woman, and it looked like the woman that he hit. And she was walking down the street, and he said that when he drove past her, he wanted to stop. And, he just felt this unnatural urge to just pull over immediately. And he did. And he said that as she was walking up the side of the truck to get closer to the passenger door, he said at first she looked just normal, but by the time she got past the trailer, she had no eyes. Her mouth was this massive black hole with no teeth, and she looked rotted away, and she seemed to be screaming. And as she got to the door, he says he thinks he passed out. He thinks he doesn't know what happened. He was so scared. He thinks he passed out, because the next thing he knows is he's watching her. He sees this horrific scene. And then the very next thing he knows is he's lifting his head up, and there's a cop knocking on the window with a flashlight trying to see if he's okay. and the clock had wound down like 2.5 hours. So he believes that he doesn't know, but I'll put it to you this way, he promised me this: he never takes that road anymore, ever. He says he's done 100-mile detours to avoid that strip of road. And he doesn't understand why he would see that, because he feels guilty about it, I guess. I can understand. But at the same time, it's really not your fault. Like, if someone just walks out from behind a tree in the middle of the road in the middle of the night and jumps in front of your truck and you're doing the speed limit, and you know these trucks don't stop on a dime, it's not your fault. But I guess he harbored some serious guilt about it. He said that terrified him. He contemplated quitting trucking and everything. He was... I can't blame him. That's fucking horrifying. That's fucking horrifying, dude. Like, that's some horror movie shit if I've ever heard it. You know what I mean? She's just wandering those roads waiting for him to come back one day just to fuck with him? Nah, let's stay off that road. Jesus. There was another one, a guy told me about a kid. I met him in Jersey, and it happened in Jersey. He was a day cab driver, and he was telling me a story about this kid that had gotten hit by a trucker. Apparently there was some kind of an accident, and there was a school bus, like, lopsided on the road. This kid got off the school bus to just walk the rest of the way home, and the trucker wasn't paying attention and swerved out of the way of the bus, missed the bus, but hit the kid. And apparently, if you drive down that road on the same day that it happened, at the same time that it happened, sometimes you can get like a little insight on your future, because if you see the kid, you have good fortune coming. You have to know what the kid looks like. He had a picture of the kid in his wallet. It was like an Asian-looking kid with like a red book bag, a blue shirt, blue jeans, white shoes, black hair, short hair. But if you saw the kid, you had good luck coming your way. If you saw what looked like a disheveled trucker walking down the street, you're in for a bad time. And if you stop and try to pick either one of them up, the kid won't get in your truck. He'll hit you with the, I don't talk to strangers. The trucker, will get in your truck. And the thing that creeped me out about that story was I asked the guy, so what happens if you pick him up? And he says, no one knows. Well, that only means one thing. If no one knows, it means either no one's survived or no one's been brave enough to do it yet for some particular reason. Yeah, that wraps it up for me, though. Thanks for listening, y'all. And leave a comment, leave a like. Let me know if you like the videos. Have a great night, y'all.